Got my ass whooped. KFC, UFC, USC, OKC in 5, man. Shit. I ain't gonna make no excuses.
What if I told you that right there is Anthony Edwards' greatest strength? No, it's not the humor, although we love that. It's the accountability and willingness to get better every single season. Because after a career best year and another Western Conference Finals appearance, Ant wasn't interested in patting himself on the back or deflecting the blame. He recognized that both him and the Wolves were not good enough to beat the eventual champions, and this has always been a part of Anthony Edwards' game. Yes, whilst Ant might call himself the greatest player of all time or suggest he could be the greatest multi-sport athlete ever who could pick up a baseball bat and become Mike Trout the next day.
I used to play baseball when I was young. Yeah, it'd be hot.
Really? How good a baseball player were you?
I could have went to the MLB.
Okay, ping pong, baseball, football, basketball.
Tennis, swimming, lacrosse, whatever you need me to play, I'm gonna go do it. If it's some money on the line, I'm gonna go do it.
Don't confuse his confidence for his accountability, because he will be the first person to tell you when he is cooking you, just like he did after the Lakers series.
Man, Batman, Superman, Lakers in 5.
But he will also be the first person to tell you when he and his team is being cooked, just like after the Thunder series. But why does any of this matter? I mean, anyone can be honest and tell you when they're getting cooked. That's not exactly a special power. Well, the difference between Ant and most players, or people like us, is he actually has all of the tools and talent to make a tangible difference to his game when he puts his mind to it. Remember when people said Anthony Edwards needed a jump shot? Well, he just had one of the greatest shooting seasons ever. Remember when they said he needed to play more defense? He did just that. Although, I'm not about to tell you he's perfect on defense yet by any means, but he has since gotten better, and when he needed to become a better playmaker and figure out how to create offense against all kinds of defense, guess what? He did that as well.
You said that you were a little bit confused about what they were doing defensively in Game 2. How were you able to better attack tonight?
I watched a lot of film when I got home that same night after the game, at like 4 in the morning. When I woke up in the morning, when we got to the gym, I just was watching it relentlessly, man, and I tried to figure it out, and I figured a couple things out.
For anyone wondering, this was in reference to Ant saying the Lakers confused him in Game 2 with their zone defense against him. Like I said, Ant took that personally, and then he spent the remaining time between Game 2 and Game 3 locked in on one thing and one thing only, figuring out how to hurt the Lakers defensively, which is exactly what he did. Take this play for example, where Ant can clearly see Rui in help. He doesn't rush things, but waits for Randall to get to the dunker's spot, and it's just a nice bounce pass to Randall's advantage with the much smaller Vincent on him for the easy 2. And this is what I'm talking about with Anthony Edwards. When he has something that he needs to improve, when he sees a weakness in his game that is being exploited, he is going to focus in on that exact weakness and try to improve it. This happened in the span of one game where we saw Ant's mentality change as a playmaker. We saw him evolve in real time against a defense that was causing him troubles earlier in the series. And so many of these clips you guys would have definitely seen, with Jaden McDaniels cooking Luka off the dribble. They were everywhere. But most of these clips start because of the defense loading up on Ant, and then it's up to Jaden to take advantage of that, taking players off the dribble and getting to the rim, which he did absolutely excellently. But it starts with the guy at the top. Just like here, where it's Gobert setting the screen, which Hayes steps up onto trap, and with LeBron covering the roll, Ant finds McDaniels, and from there, well, you can see what happens. Or here, where Ant draws multiple defenders before pushing into the chest of Hayes, forcing Luka to help over, and then once he tries to recover, it's an easy blow-by. And this is actually something Luka does really well. I'm not talking about his defense, I'm talking about offensively. He welcomes the defensive pressure. We have seen this since he was a rookie, wanting the double teams to come, waiting for them to come, and then making that pass, being patient. Ant has talked about being a fan of Luka and what he does against double teams.
You just seem really confident in that, when they are putting 2 on the ball.
Watching film,
I think me and C. Hines just watch film on it all the time, especially Luka. I watch a lot of Luka, seeing how he attacked the double team.
And you can see it in how he was playing, in the sense he was embracing the double, knowing there would be an opening or a better opportunity for his teammate. And this was the growth, because earlier in the season, well, he was talking about being annoyed by double teams because all he wanted to do was score. Now he realized it was an opportunity for all of his teammates to eat, and he would still find ways to score because he's just that good. And as I said, this is the scariest part about Ant's game. He is constantly evolving. I mentioned it before, but people might not quite realize. Anthony Edwards had one of the greatest shooting seasons ever. That is not an exaggeration. This is the list of NBA players to have made 300 threes in a season. Steph Curry, 6 times, James Harden, Klay Thompson, Malik Beasley, and Anthony Edwards. Let that sink in for a second, and I don't need to tell you, but the difference is, those other guys like Steph Curry, like Buddy Hield, Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, they weren't able to do the things Ant can do physically, but he has somehow managed to blend this physicality, this unique handle and deceleration ability with incredible shooting as well. And to let me emphasize, this was never supposed to happen. Coming out of college, Ant's biggest weakness was seen as his shooting. Shooting 29% from 3 his one season in college, suggesting that he was a player who settled for jumpers, and despite improvements his first few years in the league, he still was never considered an elite shooter, and some people still don't consider him that, but that is just because of preconceived ideas. The numbers, the efficiency, all back up the notion that Anthony Edwards is now an elite shooter, and all he has to do now is maintain that to become a truly great shooter. And I think the scariest part is he only just turned 24. LeBron didn't win a championship until he was 27. Steph Curry the same. Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal were 28. Ant has been at such a high level and in such high leverage games for so long that it's easy to forget how young he still is. I mean, Shea didn't have a real playoff run until last year at 26 years old, and now he's a champion and a legend. So what's next for Ant? Well, I think the improvements he's made to his shooting, playmaking, and sometimes defense, because he can still get caught ball watching, but that's not exactly uncommon for a star. I think the next step is just to continue to master his overall game, because I think we can all agree he's reached a point where he has no glaring weaknesses. Now, that doesn't mean he's automatically the best player in the world and he's a perfect player, because some of the best players might have certain weaknesses in their game, but guys like Giannis and Jokic also happen to be 2 of the best at their respective strengths ever. And naturally, a part of Ant's game that people have been hoping for him to get even better at is his finishing at the rim. Not just efficiency-wise, but also the volume. Those things about his physical gifts and how he can dunk on anyone and has some of the craziest dunks we have ever seen, his strength, his size, they're great. But in spite of that, he isn't actually one of the best finishers in the league. In fact, he's just kind of okay. And you hear people talking about it's because he settles for threes. I just told you he had one of the best shooting seasons ever. If that's considered settling, then I'm okay with that. Now, he did talk about the lanes being clogged, and you have to feel for him because he isn't playing on a team with the best spacing of all time. But hopefully, he's just good enough to find ways around it. And I think he is, because we've seen Anthony Edwards improve in his game every single year of his career so far. I don't expect that to change.